birthday. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Every day is your birthday if you choose to celebrate life, which is what we do every day on this little live. So how are you doing today? We are going to talk today about the hula hoops of confidence. Yay, I did it right, the opening section, isn't that great? But we first of all have to say happy birthday to the real people who's on my friends list, whose real birthdays it actually is today. So we have Marie-Louise, perhaps, Mark Terrell, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Mark, actually. I've heard you say it at least once in Spain when we were out there. Joanna Martin, gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen you active, Joanna. Are you all right? Has it been going all right with you? Actually, Joanna's an interesting story about Joanna. As I spoke yesterday, I've got borderline autism, Asperger's, I should say. And it doesn't really manifest itself very much, obviously because I was much older when I finally figured out what was going on there, and I've rewired myself slightly to overcome that. By the way, also happy birthday to Charlotte and Brian McKeekey, who supplies the text messages. Charlotte doesn't, Brian does, for my online appointment booking system, diarybooker.com. Anyway, so I was at one of Joanna's events in London, and I'd set myself up. I like to sit at the front, so I feel like the person who's talking is actually talking to me directly. I feel like if I'm sitting first of all, I feel like I'm trapped if I'm in a row and I can't get out. It just makes me feel very uncomfortable. And if I sit right at the back of the room, I feel so disengaged from the person at the front of the room that I just don't pay any attention at all. So I've learned over the years that actually what I need to do is sit right at the front, so I feel like they're just talking to me only, and there's no distractions around me, and I can really focus properly on the person in front of me. Actually, a little bit further back is not too bad, because sometimes they have these VIP seats, but it's basically the front as far forward as I can possibly get, and on an edge, so I can get out if I need to get out. But just, it's not so much I want to get out, it's just that I feel more relieved. This is all going to be coming to the hula hoops of confidence in a second, because in fact it makes perfect sense. In fact, we're going to do the breathing exercise just to show what's going on here. Anyway, so when we came back from lunch at the end of the first day or something, apparently we've been told to find a new seat to sit in, and not just sit where we'd sat before, in order to meet new people, have a new experience, look at the world from a different perspective, and all that kind of stuff. Very good, Joanna, by the way, on that one. However, and this is the hula hoops. This is where the hula hoops comes in. So we all have these hula hoops of confidence. This, if you can imagine a hula hoop, we all know what a hula hoop is, right? Put it down on the floor and just say, right, this is my little comfort zone. This is like a little space that I feel comfortable inside. And the moment I stand outside of that comfort zone, it feels a little bit uncomfortable. It feels like, it doesn't feel like that. But what we can do is we can grab another hula hoop and you just put it just next to the other one, but just shift it slightly. And then we can just step into that one, and then we can go, oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I just kind of got used to that. But then you can step back into your regular Rubik's Cube, hula hoop. And then you can step, but now you've already stepped into that one once, you can then feel a little bit more comfortable about doing it again. You go, okay, yeah, okay, I understand this perspective now, yeah. Oh, let's go back to safety. Okay, back to safety, fantastic. Okay, but I've been there twice now, and I've proved to myself that it's all right, it's not, nothing bad's going to happen. So now I can stand out there again, and I can go, okay, yeah, I can stay out here for 5 seconds now. It's all right, it's good. Back to comfort zone though. But now I've been out there 5 seconds, so now I can go in there 1 second. Oh, easy, no problem at all. I can go there for 2 seconds. Nah, no problem at all. I can now maybe go out in 30 seconds and just see how it feels for 30 seconds out in this other comfort zone. This is going to come back. The last two messages, the last 2 days I've been recording as well. This will all beautifully coalesce together. So anyway, I came back from lunch knowing that I'd reserved my seat, as it were, because I'd left my books and stuff on the seat, thinking to myself, right, I've sort of fine, I can relax at lunchtime, I don't have to worry about getting back early because I know I've got my seat, it's all fine, it's going to be fine. And of course I come back into the room and I walk to the front of the room and there's somebody sitting in my seat, and there's no seats anywhere near it, free, and they say, oh no, we were all told to sit in new seats, and I was like, oh god. So then I walk back to the back of the room looking for a seat, and there's a couple like in the middle of the rows and stuff, and I'm not pushing past everybody to get to those. That's terrible. And I end up sitting like right at the back of the room. And somebody comes over to me and says, oh, there's a seat like, 4 or 5 rows from the front, but it's like in amongst 40 odd people. I'm saying, no, I'm not happy with that. I'll sit at the back. And of course, while I was sitting at the back, I was feeling less and less engaged with Joanna at the front of the room, feeling even more uncomfortable and under stress. And I wasn't listening to a word that was going on. And I could feel, I didn't know anything at the time. This is kind of before I'd done all this rewiring and psychotherapy stuff that I've worked on, neuroscience stuff that I've been working on myself personally. I broke down. I could feel myself getting more and more emotional, more and more upset about the whole situation, and eventually started to cry. And I thought, I can't just sit here. So I walked out of the room, and I was standing in the corridor, just bawling my eyes out. And one of Joanna's helpers, came in and talked to me and said, "Are you all right? What's going on?" And I said, "Oh," and I explained the whole story. And she said, "Oh, okay, well, really sorry about that. We obviously didn't know. If you told us, we could have accommodated or something." I was like, "Well, yeah, but even I didn't really know what was going to happen." And I think they gave me a seat at the back. I can't remember what happened. I was just out of it. Oh, I know what happened. Yes, I remember now. I think they put an extra seat in the front row, and then they just gave me the front row seat or something. I can't remember what happened, but they allowed me to go and sit at the front. Unusual, possibly slightly into the fire break area or something, because there was corridors and so. But anyway, they accommodated me, which is fine. But the point was that was putting me outside. That was like getting the hula hoop and throwing it 50 yards away, and then saying, "Right, you're standing in that hula hoop over there, and I'm feeling super uncomfortable, and I can't get back to this one because whatever, there's really muddy and slippery slope or something in between. I can't get back to my comfort zone, my comfort hula hoop." And of course, all of that, and to a certain extent, actually, that comes back to that rejection thing. I said that, in fact, it probably was rejection, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was now. Sensitive dysmorphia, because I felt like I'd been rejected. I'd got my place, I'd settled down, I'd feel comfortable in the front row, felt like I was connected with the speakers and so forth. I'd actually been up on stage, I think, at one point earlier on in the day, just briefly, say, hi, I'm John, which I love, by the way, because that's my thing. I love that sort of thing. But then I felt like I'd been pushed to the back of the room, and I'd been rejected from the crowd, and I'd been ejected from the crowd, and left to the back of the room. And actually, the same sort of thing happened at Andy Harrington's event, or one of his events anyway. I went to. Similar sort of thing happened. I came back from lunch, and there weren't any seats where I could sit, and I had to sit right at the back. Admittedly, I was sitting with Tristan Griffiths, so that was kind of okay. But what I found was I wasn't paying any attention to what Andy was saying for that whole section of the program, because he was so far away. It was just like watching it on TV. And with my ADHD, the attention deficit thing, I couldn't really focus on what was happening. I didn't connect with it. So, and it was really quite tough and frustrating as well. But anyway, these are all things. And the point I'm making all this stuff as well, gosh, nobody's watching me live. This is a little bit annoying, given the fact that I haven't put any links on these things. And normally I get a couple of people popping up. But anyway, maybe there are people watching, but I can't see who they are. Who knows? Anyway, but all of this stuff is history and stories from our past. And actually, today's Blinkist book of the day is The Self-Driven Child, and it's very much about how you can, as parents, help your children to be more independent, make their own decisions, and trust them to make their own decisions a lot more often than you probably think you can. And which is really cool, because this is one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing as well. I want to work with mums for two reasons. First of all, I don't really get on with men. I don't really enjoy working with men. Secondly, mums have got sort of structure in their lives, and they've got to get on with things no matter what kind of mindset going on there as well. But also, more importantly perhaps, is I want to help the mums help create a positive future for themselves and also for their families. And the idea is that if I can teach them really good techniques for their own mental health and their own mental well-being, they can pass that on to the children, and they can teach the children meditation, mindfulness, reading, the benefits of reading, good food, exercise, getting out into nature, all these really good things that are good for children, and will give them more independence and will allow them to build their own stories, their own beliefs a little bit more, rather than just being programmed by the parents, the teachers and so forth. Because that's basically what happens is you as a parent, you're working on with the best amount of knowledge that you have to pass on to your children the best knowledge that you have. And often you will say, well, I learned this story, and therefore I want you to learn either a different story because you don't want you to make the same mistakes I did, or I want you to learn the same story so that you avoid the mistakes that I made, or that kind of stuff. And sometimes that might not be helpful because, for example, technology moves on, so it might be that you teach your children something that was relevant when you were a child, but now isn't relevant. I can't think of a particular example off the top of my head, and I want to make sure I keep these much shorter in future. Anyway, but these are stories. We all have these stories inside our heads. And I was reading the Happy Money book this morning, and he was talking about how when you look at children in the playground, they all just laugh and jump and joy and enjoy life and so forth. And over time, we suddenly say, "Oh no, we're not allowed to jump and joy when we receive something, or we receive a new gift or something unexpected to happen, and we're not allowed to clap and celebrate somebody else's successes and so forth because we're adults. We don't do that sort of thing. That's frowned upon." Hello, viewer, by the way. Thank you for watching. And it can be a real nightmare to have this. You've developed into this person who's trying to control your emotions, trying to hide your emotions. And of course, the trouble is, if you're hiding your sadness and your happiness, you're not really enjoying life. I talk a lot about how we have the ups and downs of life, and you have an up and we have a down, we have an up and a down. And if we suppress either the ups and the downs to a certain extent, we eventually get to a flat line and we're not really enjoying life. And I heard Prince EA's the other day saying most people die at 25 but then are buried at 75 because they basically just lived this non-life for 50 odd years, where they've just kind of gone through the motions and you just existed really, rather than actually living life, enjoying the ups and the downs. But because the problem is, of course, is that you have an up and then you have a down, and quite a lot of the time, if you don't know how to control the down, if you don't know how to control your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings and so forth, that down can just keep going down, and depending on your circumstances, that can really crash. Obviously, the sort of thing that happened to me at Joanna's event, for example. We didn't do the breathing exercise, did we? One of the things I could have done at that breathing exercise was at that event was my breathing exercise. So we'll finish with that today. So you can crash and keep crashing down. Whereas if you can recognise the thoughts and the feelings before they happen, you can start to bring yourself out of it and you can start to enjoy it. Which is why the book that I started to write many years ago, in 2014 actually, was called The Art of Uphill Skiing, and it was all about how when we're sliding down this slope into depression, we can get to the bottom and it's just too slippery to get back up again. But if we can learn how to use crampons and ice picks and so forth, we can climb up to the top of the slope. But quite often, of course, what will happen is a doctor will throw down a rope and pull you up, tie you up to the top of the slope. But then you'll be worried about sliding back down again in the future. But what you need to do is learn how to ski. And obviously you can ski downhill, but then you need to be able to ski back uphill again. So you need to be able to learn how to use the button lifts, the chair lifts, and all that kind of stuff, as well as maybe if you use cross-country skis, you can actually ski uphill with those as well. And anyway, so you just learn to. It's got a bit of fun views going on here, isn't it? You can learn to cope if you've got the tools to be able to cope. And so that's what I teach people in my 7-day Kickstarter. Will be the tools to cope with your mental health and well-being, that you can then teach on to your children and help them as well. So I will put the link to the Blinkist book in the comments later on, rather than linking it in here. But anyway, happy birthday to the people whose real birthday it is today. I have about a minute left, so I am going to do the breathing exercise that I normally do every single day, normally at the beginning, when we say happy birthday to Marie, Mark, Joanna, Charlotte and Brian. What's the one thing you're going to get done today? Blow out the candle. 5 in through your nose. Hand on heart. Light the candles in your left hand while you're holding the breath. And then blow out the candles in your hand. When you hold your breath, you're allowing the oxygen and the carbon dioxide to exchange in your blood. That allows you to pump a whole bunch of oxygen-filled blood up to your brain, allows you to think more clearly and make better decisions. So there you go. Feel free to do that thing every hour. That's what I do, and think about what's going to happen in the next hour. Or if you just want to do it once a day with me, then feel free to do that too. What's the one thing you're going to get done today? Let me know in the comments below. That's all from me for now. Take care. Sending you love into the world. Mwah. Yeah, back and watch it if you want to find out about rewiring your stories and the hula hoops, because that was all at the beginning. Thanks very much indeed, guys. Bye for now.